Right. Welcome back. Just before the break, we were talking about the different aspects of tea growing, tea marketing, and how a better brand, a better tasting tea can be produced, and better yielding grounds can be made suitable. Sir, when you were at Bangladesh Tea Research Institute, what was the most remarkable thing that you remember over 36 years that you achieved? Most remarkable.
I should say
something that you would like to tell your grandchildren that, well, look, I did this.
We developed a clone that is unique in Bangladesh. That is clone BT2.
BT2.
BT2. Bangladesh Tea2. Usually a variety. Yeah, right. The second variety.
Right.
First variety was released from BTRI in 1966.
Right.
The second variety, that is BT2, was released in 1975. That is that is the outcome of our work.
Right. Right.
So that is unique in a sense that it has got a flavor that is reminiscent of Darjeeling.
Right.
That is unusual.
And I think you were awarded something.
I was awarded Qazi Zabur Nasa and Mahabubullah Trust Award. It is given to distinguished scientists, particularly in agricultural science, and some cultural persona. And the year we got this award in 1979, and Ferdowsi Mazumdar got this award for her contribution in arts and culture.
Right.
So I don't remember the others, but at least I remember this too.
You remember the right person. That's great. That's great. Was this particular, that BT2, how is it different from the other teas that are available?
It is different because, first of all, in Bangladesh condition, we don't expect flavor tea. But our tea is akin to Assam teas, this Kalari and Bright tea that we have. But in this BT2, it is very high yielding, at the same time bright and Kalari that fulfills any improved varieties, but only attribute that excels other varieties, that is its flavor.
Right.
First flavory clone that we developed at BTRI.
Great. I have a question, see. When we buy tea from supermarkets here, and we put the tea bag in the cup, we put hot water, boiling hot water. Suddenly, within seconds, it all becomes black. Is it natural? I don't think so. I mean, the tea cannot be this dark. Has the tea been gone through different processes to make it that dark?
Ideally, processed tea shouldn't be black. That's the first thing. The brew should be bright.
Yep.
Usually it is brewed for 5 minutes.
Right.
Just boiling water, not keep on boiling.
No, of course not. Yeah.
So
that is, they call it in India. They call it chai pakara. The cooking tea.
The cooking tea. So that's not ideal.
Yeah.
So you put your tea into the pot.
Yep.
And put boiling water, just boiling water into the.
And let it brew for 5 minutes.
No, and cover it with the lid and keep it for 5 minutes.
Right.
Not boil.
No, let it brew for 5 minutes. Yes.
After that, you sieve your tea and taste. If you like milk, you add to it.
Yep.
If it is a good tea, self-drinking tea, you can drink it plain.
The tea. What are the contents of the tea? What is inside tea?
Yeah, tea for which we drink.
Yeah.
Because it contains caffeine.
Right.
That gives you astringent feeling.
Right.
You warm up.
You feel active.
Yeah, that's the main caffeine. If you drink coffee, it has got all the same caffeine. There are some polyphenols in it that gives you taste, pungency, and lightness.
Right.
You invigorate rather.
Right.
That's why it's a very good drink, but not harmful.
Well, I mean, anything in proportion is good, isn't it? I mean, like if somebody drinks too much of water, that's not good. But water is very good for the health. Now, how much of tea is good for us and how much of tea is bad for us?
There is a study that 6 cups of tea a day should be enough. Should be good.
I mean, we are talking about the caffeine content and the other content.
That's the best compromise.
Yes.
Because
we're not talking about sugar.
no, just tea.
Just
tea. But without sugar and tea, so sugar and milk.
Yes.
1 cup gives you 2 calories.
Yes.
But if you add milk and sugar, it gives you
goes up, yes.
54 calories.
Yes. Yes.
So if you are calorie conscious, don't add milk and sugar.
Right.
Just drink. But some flavorities like Darjeeling tea, high-grown Sri Lankan tea, some Kenyan teas, and BT2 or BT2, you don't add milk and sugar. You get the exact taste
Right.
of tea.
How to get BT2?
BT2 at the moment it is not separately branded. The production is so low now. They cannot brand it in separate name, BT2. But in clonal tea, some tea estates make BT2 and sell it as clonal tea.
All right.
Maybe some other clones added,
Yep.
and that's the current situation.
Now
But it is about in 1996, we sent 10 kgs of teas, Orthodox black tea, BT2 tea to Harrods.
Right.
That was very nice tea, and they appreciated it.
Was it branded as something from Bangladesh?
They wanted a sample
Not.
of clonal tea, because in Chittagong auction it was sold as BT2, so that got a high dividend price.
Right.
So they asked our chairman, the then chairman, so he managed to get 10 kgs in a box and sent it to Harrods, and it was appreciated by them.
Shouldn't we be producing more of that so that we can get a considerable portion of the international market? Because there is a great demand for tea everywhere.
That's right, because
Have you been to Piccadilly? There is a tea shop, see, and somebody had asked me to get tea from overseas. And I went in there, he said, go to Piccadilly shop, and I went in there and asked, I need some tea. And he said, which tea? And he probably gave me 100 names, see, and I was so confused I came out. I couldn't decide.
so many names and grades of tea. In China, they produce 1,000 kinds of tea, green tea.
Right.
So we are really confused.
Right, that's very good that you mentioned green tea. How is green tea different from the tea that we drink?
The processing.
Is it coming from the same plant?
Same plant, you can go either to black tea or green tea.
Right.
So usually green tea is made in China, Japan, and other Southeast Asian countries, because they are green tea drinkers. We started it earlier, but just limited consumers. So green tea processing is different. If you pluck a tea shoot from the field, if you decide that you would make green tea, though you don't ferment it. That is, you don't crush it.
Right.
You just, in the first instance, you steam it for 1 minute or 2 minutes to kill the enzyme that oxidizes the tea polyphenols and gives you a black color later. On the finished when it is dried. But if you kill the enzyme, oxidizing the polyphenols I mentioned, there are polyphenols, different kinds of polyphenols, at least 30 polyphenols are there. In black tea processing, there are several stages. First off, they wither it. That is, in field, it contains about 80% moisture. So for processing CTs or orthodox tea, for orthodox tea, it has to wither down to 60%. For CT modern tea, that the grainy tea that you get here, you have to wither it at least 80%. After that, it takes about a day, 12 hours at least. Otherwise, you don't get quality tea. For quality tea, not only the improved variety gives you tea, the packing standard is also important. Then processing standard is also important.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. See, what happens to the different processes? I mean, we hear of tea garden, and see, very romantic atmosphere.
Right.
Tea garden, the managers,
Right.
they enjoy life. This is what we used to learn, see, when we were there.
Right.
Now, when tea is plucked from the garden, it goes to the factory.
Right.
What are the different processes before it reaches the market?
For black tea,
Yeah.
there are 4 main stages. One, withering. Then
Can you describe that? How is it done?
withering, there is elimination of some moisture.
Right.
I said tea in the field, when it is plucked, it contains about 80% moisture. It has to be, for CTC processing, it has to drop down to, you have to eliminate another 10% moisture at least to get into the machine. Otherwise, it doesn't give you that quality.
What happens in the machine? I mean, is it when you put in the machine?
Machine,
what is the process?
it macerates the cell.
Right.
It macerates the cell, and the tea polyphenol within the cell, it mixes with the enzymes that is within the cell.
Right.
Until you mix it, it doesn't ferment.
Right.
It takes oxygen from the air, and the polyphenol is converted to thiaflavin and thiarubicin.
Okay. Now, what is the next one? Next process?
Next process,
The
that is
stage.
for black tea, and you allow it for 1 hour fermentation. We call it, somebody calls it fermentation. That's a misnomer. Actually, it is a process of oxidation.
Right.
So you have to, at that stage, that you get optimum color of the infusion. That is coppery color.
Yeah.
Originally it was green, and when it turns coppery red, you stop by firing. That is putting it to the dryer.
Right.
And 180 degree, at 180 degree Celsius, you have to dry it within 20 minutes.
Right.
The moisture level, all the moisture excepting 2% moisture, it has to drop down at the bottom. So the tea is made. So first of this withering, when
Right.
it goes to factory,
Right.
withering,
What you call
processing,
fermentation
and then fermentation, oxidation,
and
then drying.
Drying up.
Drying. And the 5th stage is sorting.
Right.
So for marketing, different to take out different grades according to size, we have to sort it. But actual for black tea, these 4 stages must be done.
Right.
Otherwise, you don't make black tea.
Well, we have
Or-
finally reached the finalist stage, and the next thing remains for us is to have the tea itself, isn't it?
Yeah.
A cup of tea and enjoy.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for coming along and sharing your experience and the knowledge that you have. And I bet that it has gone down very well
Thank you very
with
much.
our
Thank you very
viewers.
much.
Thank you, sir.
Sure.
Thank you for being with us, and I hope that you enjoyed the show and all the descriptions about tea and the details. Next time you have your cup of tea, remember us, and you will have all this detail at the back of your mind. Enjoy. Same time, same channel next week. See you.